Welcome back to the Heart and Soul in Sports with yours truly, Tony. There's a lot I'm gonna dive into. Been off talking about sports for a while, but hey, we back now doing it. First things first, let's go ahead and get this out the way. I never thought the Lakers would beat Denver in the first place. I just thought they were better equipped to play with Denver. Obviously, I was wrong. There's a few things in this and on this Lakers team that I'm disappointed in. Okay, you fired Darvin Ham. In my opinion, he never should have been hired. Tyronn Lue should have been the coach. All he wanted was one more year. The front office messed that up. So not only is Darvin Ham and the coaching staff should be responsible, the front office should have some responsibility in this also, because they the one to put this garbage roster together. The first thing I'm disappointed in is Davis. Now, I don't know if y'all seen that last so-called injury he had. I can't remember if it was Porter or Gordon who brushed against him. It wasn't him, he brushed against him, and he went down like he was shot. The thing I got a problem with him is, based on what I've seen, he faked. He sold the team out, because that hit was not hard enough to hurt anybody. I know sixth graders that were hit harder than he got hit, and for him to dive down on the floor like he was just throbbing in pain, rolling around in circles, give me a freaking break, man. You sold out. You didn't think you could beat him, so what the first thing you did is you faked an injury so they couldn't say it was on you. This is what you did. It's not hard to see. It's obvious to anybody with eyes that you faked. You are soft as shaman. I've never seen a so-called superstar that is soft as you that would fake an injury. Even when Kobe tore his Achilles, he limped off the floor. He didn't have no help. Why do you need 20 minutes on the floor? And I'm being a little bit facetious, but all that time on the floor with an injury that didn't occur. We got 3 or 4 different angles of that injury. All right, well, let me rephrase that. Alleged injury. You faked. I have no respect for you now. 0. You faked. You sold the team out. You did not want to be responsible or liable for the loss, so you copped out. You went the easiest way you could find to say, well, it wasn't me, I was hurt. You had 16 points in the first half and 1 point in the second half. You didn't even take about 1 or 2 shots in the second half. You are a sellout. I've never seen a superstar as weak as you is. And I was this close to lobbying for you because you played so well against the Joker. And then when the game got tight, you went down with a fake injury. They should get rid of you. Be honest with you, they should just get rid of you because you're garbage. In my opinion, you're pitiful. You're pathetic. You're an embarrassment to the purple and gold. Just an embarrassment, because that. Please go to YouTube and look at that hit. You can see that he barely got touched. They showed a different angle from behind where the backboard is, and he showed he barely got touched. And you falling on the ground like you about to pass out. Who hurts their arm and shoulder and falls on the ground? Who does that? Number one, that was an indication you were faking in itself. And you're the biggest piece of the problem, but you're not the only piece. And this is one fact I want to say. A 39-year-old man should not be leading the team in scoring. You should not be leading the team in scoring. But LeBron is. He's leading the team in scoring. Doggone in assists, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just disappointed in the whole team. And Rui Hachimura, you got this contract last summer, and I really thought that you was going to perform, and you pretty much did absolutely nothing. Out of 4 games, and this is crazy, out of 4 games, if I'm not mistaken, but he scored 28 points out of 4 games, 7 points per game? It wasn't even 7 points. He just got 15 in the last game that boosted the average up. But you were non-existent as far as offensive wise. Reeves, the first 2 games, you were non-existent. The last 2 you came on with 22 and 21, if I'm not mistaken. The first 2 you didn't even score in double figures. The bench they don't even have a bench. And I agree with Mike Wilborn on one thing. I don't agree with him that he's mad with LeBron and AD. And the thing I got a problem with Mike Wilborn is this very point. You mad because they fired Darvin Ham. Now, you're not mad because they fired him because of the lack of adjustments, the lack of having a rotation, a consistent rotation. And I'm not going to blame all that on him because there was injuries throughout the year. You are a friend of his for 30 years. That's what you're mad about. Because you can't be mad about he got fired because of the credentials, because he don't have any credentials. Mike Wilborn, you making this personal. That is not what you were supposed. That's not how you supposed to act. You saying, well, and then you contradicted yourself so many times when you were talking to Frank Isola. You trying to make it look like, well, he said Anthony Davis and LeBron played great, but they didn't play great. Okay. Did you mention the role players? Did you mention D'Angelo Russell? Did you mention Hachimura? Did you mention Reeves? Did you mention anybody on the bench? So 2 players are supposed to guard 5 people. See, that's what I don't like about y'all media people, is because you get personal when they fire your friend. Well, why you didn't say anything when they fired the Milwaukee coach who had a winning record? I didn't hear you get on there and make a big fuss about that. You didn't make a big fuss when they fired this coach. You didn't make this fuss about this coach. You just made it about one person because he was your friend. You are supposed to be unbiased, and you're supposed to state facts and stats, not because they're your friend. That's what you're outraged about, because that is truly what you're outraged about, and you're out of line in my opinion. To say, well, they played great. Anthony Davis does not show up in the 4th quarter. People say what you want, go back and look at the numbers. He does not show up in the 4th quarter. It's just like in football. 4 quarters where you make your money. In the 4th quarter, it's time to close out. They did not truly have a closing. All right. The way for them to beat Denver was very simple. LeBron and AD has to cancel out the Joker and Murray. That's got to be. Then you got to have D'Angelo Russell cancel out Gordon or Porter. Russell is garbage. You should have never signed him to that extension. I have no idea what the Lakers organization was thinking about. He is inconsistent, and I'm being extremely modest when I say inconsistent. He is a roller coaster. He's up and down. One game he scored 22, the other game he scored 0. Then it's 3, then it's 8. Went from 1 of something, 15, 7 to 20. And then he's got a nerve to get mad at the referees officiating. Look, you play like trash. You have no reason to say anything to the officials. Bad as you played, they should cut you down. Taurean Prince, he was a non-factor. I'm just gonna be honest with you. There was a bunch of non-factors in this game. The people they counted on the most did not show up. And the guy they got from Miami, And actually, they need to send him back to Miami. I think his name is Gabe Vincent or something like that. You didn't even play half the season. You was hurt most of the season. That was a waste. And I always say, when a team lets you go, there's a reason they let you go. If you was a good player, they wouldn't have let you go. They let you go because Pat Riley seen you was on the downside. Christian Woods never really amounted to anything. What is that guy named? Spencer Dinwiddie. They should have kept him on waivers. If he was on waivers somewhere, he should have stayed on waivers. Because he was no good. Max Christie, he never materialized in anything. He's too skinny. He need to put some weight on. But the one I'm disappointed in is Rui Hachimura. You the one that had expectations on. You supposed to have been the X factor in that Denver series. You was an X, all right, but you was no factor. And that's the most disappointing thing. I really thought Austin Reeves would have played better in the first two games, but hey, he did not. And once again, I say this, LeBron cannot be the best player on that team. And you're gonna win. The key should have been handed to Anthony Davis. LeBron tried to give him to Davis. Davis put him back on the counter because he didn't want him. In my opinion, Davis is not a top 20 player or 30. He's not that because sustainability is availability. He's never available when I need him. And then they say, well, he didn't demand the ball. I blame the team because they didn't give him the ball. He didn't want it. Did you ever think of that? See, that's what I don't like about these commentators. Y'all always trying to sugarcoat, man. You try to make stuff more difficult than it should be. And you should just put it like in simpler forms. Davis didn't want no part of that fourth quarter. He didn't want no part of getting the ball in the fourth quarter. That's just the bottom line. We can say what we want. They didn't give him to him. Well, if you wanted it, why you didn't go down in the post and demand it? Then he said, well, he's got all the potential. I don't give a rat's behind about no potential. The last 2 years, you've been in the same boat, getting eliminated by the same team. Only difference this year, you actually won a game. And for Mike Wilborn, let me tell you how good your coach, your allegedly Darvin Ham is. You was in the playoff last year, and you was in the you was in the play-in last year, and you're in the play-in this year, and it's the same result. So how good really? He don't know how to make adjustments. See, Wilborn, and you're friends with him, you don't want to tell this, but I said, he does not know how to make adjustments. To me, they should have never hired him as a coach. I would have never hired him. You're a new coach a new head coach coming to a team that's ready to win. Didn't need that. Jenny Buss got him because he was cheap and she could put the staff around him. You didn't want Tyronn Lue because Tyronn Lue wanted an extra year on his contract and wanted to bring his own staff in. If you hire a coach, Lakers organization, let the coach bring the staff he wants in. If they lose, it's on him. But if they lose with your staff, don't blame him for it. Jenny Buss has been screwing up the Lakers for the last 3 to 4 years. You signing these people that you shouldn't have. All right, if you want to sign Reeves, okay, I'll give you Reeves. I thought Hachimura, so he fooled everybody. But ain't no way I would have gave Anthony Davis an extension. And I doggone sure wouldn't have gave D'Angelo Russell one either. One of them inconsistent, the other one can't stay on the court. The results are going to be the same. Anthony Davis will get hurt if the wind blows. I don't even want him doing warm-ups because I'm scared he'll trip over his own feet and be out for 3 weeks. When we played basketball, and I never played in the collegiate level or the NBA, but we were tougher than him. Some of the injuries, that last injury I cannot get over because that was minimal contact. Minimal. I done had rotator cuff surgery because I messed my shoulder up when I was lifting weights. I didn't roll around on the floor like that. And I'll say this again, who falls on the floor when you hurt your shoulder? Who does that? Your shoulder might be hanging, your arm might be hanging down, and you walk to the bench, but nobody will fall on the floor. He tried to make that injury more significant than it was. And I didn't buy it. I didn't see it when it happened. But once I looked at it again, I'm like, who is this clown fooling? I wouldn't want you on my team. And D'Angelo Russell, while they was in a huddle, I think it was in game 3 or game 2, something like that. You up there playing on the phone and eating on the other side of the bench, you would have never got in the game again. Your series would have been over at that point. No, you ain't all in. And that's the crazy thing, is that Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka done made so many dumb decisions. And I'm not going to solely put all this on him. That the organization has to be held accountable for the dumb roster you put together. Because some of these players are over the hill. You getting players that nobody else wants. I didn't see a lot of people breaking down the door to get to Prince. I didn't see a lot of people breaking down the door to get Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie? I didn't see a lot of people doing that. But y'all found that Spencer Dinwiddie was an asset. At what point was he? Did I miss this? Was this a game that I didn't see? Did I miss the highlights of this? All I know is this. The Lakers need to do 2 things. Number 1, you need to get a established coach. Let him bring his own staff in. See, this is why Tyronn Lue didn't come, because you didn't want him to bring his own staff, because you wanted to keep control over everything. Yeah, how's that working for you? Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka are pathetic. They wouldn't know a good player if they weren't staring him in the face. And another thing, and not on top of them screwing that up, you had a chance to get the forward that's on Chicago right now, DeRozan. You had a chance to get him. All he wanted was an extra year. You didn't want to get him that. Them 16 to 18 points that he averages would have came in greatly in this series. And with DeMar DeRozan, you might have not even been in the play-in the first place. You're gonna have a hard time getting rid of Anthony Davis, because nobody's gonna pick up that contract. And you're gonna really have a problem trying to get rid of D'Angelo Russell, because based on what everybody sees, well, who would want him? Hey, that's just how it is. The Lakers brass has made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. You know you're running out of bad decisions to make. There's really nothing else you can do but tear all the statues on the outside down at this point. Because y'all just haven't done anything to make any sense. You need to just blow this team up. But guess what? You gave all your draft picks away, so you really don't have draft picks. So now you basically building from free agency. The good players are not coming there because of numerous reasons. I don't want to play with Anthony Davis. I can't play with somebody that every time I turn around, he's hurt for some reason or another. He got hit in the eye 20 times. Man, put a doggone mask on or something. He's injury prone. He reminds me of the big center, Odin, that was supposed to be he's 7 feet. That's supposed to be this nightmare, but he catched on Lamar. I can't think of his first name. I know his name, Greg Odom. and he never could stay on the court. And Anthony Davis, to me, Anthony Davis might well retire. Just retire. Because to me, and I'm gonna say this, you're not even a top 25 or 30 player in the NBA right now. I can probably name 25 to 30 players that's better than you. Just because they are available and they don't fake injuries like you fake that injury. All right, well, let me go over a few more teams real quick. Dallas eliminated the Clippers, and Kawhi is another superstar that's been hurt lately. I don't think Kawhi is never going to be the Kawhi we seen when he was in San Antonio. I think that was the best version of him. I don't think we'll ever see that again. James Harden is a shell of himself. Paul George cannot carry a team. There's going to be some players that will not get a ring. Paul George, James Harden, Chris Paul. Those guys are never going to get a ring. They just not. The Phoenix Suns is another team that is a disappointment. You got KD, you got Booker, you got the guard from Portland. I think it was Portland. I can't remember his name. But you got the talent. But what teams are forgetting is when you get these big name players, these super max players, you're giving up a lot of your bench. And you don't know how important that bench is until you get into the playoffs, when your starters need a rest and the guys you got on the bench can't score. Dallas is going to run into a problem, and I'm going to tell you what that problem is going to be. The problem is Kyrie Irving and Luka they carry the bulk of the weight. Not many more players get a lot of touches. You're going to go against a team, you're going to need more than 2 to score, because this is how you beat Dallas. If one of those guys are having a bad day, they're going to lose. The reason I didn't think that Luka and Kyrie was going to work is because they have the same style of play, basically. Luka just bigger. But they're going to have issues when they run against a team that has a bench or multiple scorers, more than 2, because they only have 2 scorers. And that's going to bite them in the behind at some point. I did like Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. Minnesota will be a problem. The reason Minnesota would be a bigger problem than the Lakers were, Minnesota got multiple big men. Cat and what's that goofy guy? Can't think his name off the top of my head though. But what they're doing is, and I noticed the box score last night, is they are eliminating a lot of the rebounding that the Joker gets. Because the Joker didn't even have double-digit rebounds, which doesn't happen too often. But it happened last night. He did not have double-digit rebounds. And somehow, them second chance points, they killed the Lakers in Game 4. When they kept getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound. Well, against Minnesota, they didn't do that. Because you got Rudy Gobert and you got Cat. And those are 2 big bodies. And what can happen is they can throw both of them at the Joker, and eventually it's going to wear him down at some point. Karl Anthony Towns is a big guy at 7 feet. Rudy Gobert is a big guy. If I'm not mistaken, he's also 7 feet, or he's a little bit taller. So they got the height advantage, they got the youth advantage, and they got Ant-Man, who is a dynamic scorer. Like, he put up 43 points last night. That's going to be a problem. To beat Denver, you have to limit the Joker's rebounding and points, and you have to cancel out Murray, Well, them 43 points that Ant-Man scored cancel Murray out. And if you can hold Gordon and I think his name Powell, I'm not sure. But I know it's them two forwards. If you can hold them to the minimum, you have a really, really good chance to win that series. That's something that the Lakers were not capable of doing. KCP in the playoffs last year was outstanding. This year, he's not a factor whatsoever. Reggie Jackson has not been the impactful player that we thought. But like I said, if you can, it's Michael Porter Jr. and Gordon. If you limit one of them, only keep one of them from scoring in the 18, 20 points, you can beat them. And that's what happened last night. And hey, you got another series going on, Orlando and Cleveland, but nobody really thinks either one of those teams is going to do anything in the East. Everybody banking on Boston coming out of the East, so that's probably what's going to happen. Excuse me. That's probably what's going to wind up happening. But all I can say is this. The Denver and Minnesota is going to be a good series. I don't expect Anthony Edwards to score 43 points every game. I think he's going to get contributions from elsewhere on that roster. And that's about it. But hey, that's all the time we got for the day. We will be back, same time, same place next week with the Heart and Soul in Sports. And remember, if you don't have heart and soul, you're not in sports. We give you the 2 fingers. Peace until next time.